Welcome to the Movie Spoiler Club, the channel where you can watch movie, television, and streaming series within minutes. Today we're going to spoil the movie Avengers Endgame, 2019. This movie story plot is about, adrift in space with no food or water, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., sends a message to Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow, as his oxygen supply starts to dwindle. Meanwhile, the remaining Avengers, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, Captain America, Chris Evans, and Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo, must figure out a way to bring back their vanquished allies for an epic showdown with Thanos, Josh Brolin, the evil demigod who decimated the planet and the universe. As the movie starts, the camera takes us to Clint Barton's home, and we see him playing with his children. He's teaching his daughter archery and his wife is preparing lunch. In such a calm environment, Barton suddenly finds that his children and his wife disappeared. This event he learns later as a result of Thanos' snap to disintegrate half of the universe. Nebula and Stark are trapped in space after they fought Thanos on the planet Titan and the others vanished into the air. Stark is about to run out of oxygen, but then they get rescued by Captain Marvel, who bring their ship onto the Earth. The survived ones reunite to finish off Thanos and plans to steal the Infinity Stones from him and bring everyone back. But when they find him in a distant planet, he tells them that he has destroyed the Infinity Stones to prevent them from being used again. Enraged, Thor cuts Thanos' head off because of suffering from guilt that he couldn't do so before Thanos' snap in Wakanda. 5 years later after that, a rat accidentally jumps on a button on a machine located inside Scott Lang's van, leading Scott Lang to get pulled out from the quantum realm he was trapped in. As he comes out in a world that feels strange, but soon he finds out he's been restored there after a long time. He meets his daughter Cassie, who is now a teenager, and learns that with Thanos' snap, half the population in the world got vanished, including Hope Van Dyne, Hank Pym, and Janet Van Dyne. Meanwhile, we see Steve Rogers attending counseling sessions to seek liberty from the guilt feeling since the snap, and Natasha Romanoff is watching the Earth and beyond at the Avengers facility with the help of Rhodes, Nebula, Okoye, Captain Marvel, and Rocket. Scott Lang comes to meet Rogers and Natasha at the facility and tells them the experience he just had in the quantum realm. He tells them that although he had been trapped for 5 years in the real world, he only lived like 5 hours inside the quantum realm. When Natasha and Rogers are confused, Scott explains further that if they can take control of the quantum realm somehow, they might be able to time travel into the past, preferably before Thanos. Realizing that there might be a chance that they could right the wrong, the three go to Stark's house to meet him. Stark is living a happy life spending time with his family, and he's happy to see his old mates, but he refuses to help them when the three explain their thought about using the quantum realm to travel back, pointing out the risk to his family. But after they have gone, he's reminded of the loss of Peter Parker and decides to do some test models to work with the quantum tunnel. At the night his works turn out successful, finding a way for precise time travel. When Stark initially rejected to help, Rogers and Natasha had gone to meet Bruce Banner, who has recently merged his intelligence and Hulk strength. Their attempt to navigate the quantum realm doesn't exactly approach success, as it's not Banner's expertise. But then Stark gets into the team with Pepper persuading him, and they set out to assemble the rest of the Avengers team. Banner goes with Rocket to New Asgard to get Thor back, who has become an alcoholic to seek freedom from his guilty. Thor has been living a low life there, just video gaming and drinking, ignoring to rule the rest of Asgard civilization. But Banner convinces him to come to join them in the opportunity to restore the world. Natasha brings back Clint Barton, who has been going on a killing spree of underground crime gangs, to make the survived world a better place, because of the grief from the loss of his family. After confirming by testing the time travel method on Barton, the team splits to travel back in time, find the stones and bring them back. Banner, Stark, Lang, and Rogers go back in the time of New York, just before the events of terror created by Loki that we see in the first Avengers movie. Banner goes to meet the Ancient One in their sanctum in New York to get the Time Stone. He explains about Thanos, but the Ancient One refuses to give the stone to him, until Banner tells her that Doctor Strange willingly gave the stone to Thanos in the future time, believing that Strange must have had given it up for a good reason. The Ancient One gives the Time Stone to Banner. Steve Rogers steals the Mind Stone that's contained in the Loki scepter from the Hydra agents, but confronts his past self, who mistake his future self as a projection of Loki. The two get into an equal fight, which ends by the future Captain America manages to overcome his past self using the power of Loki's scepter. Meanwhile, Stark and Lang fail to retrieve the Space Stone, as Loki, who was in custody for the crimes he did in New York, grabs the Tesseract and escapes through a portal. Realizing that there's a chance they can retake the stone, Stark and Rogers travel back to 1970, the time when the stone was stored at a military base. As Stark retrieves the stone from there, he meets his father Howard and has a talk about the fatherhood. Meanwhile, Rogers distracts Hank Pym and gets into his office to steal a couple of Pym particles to get back to the present time, and he gets to see his lost love, Peggy Carter, in the adjacent office room. Thor and Rocket travel back in time to Asgard, back when the events we saw in the movie Thor: The Dark World occurred. To retrieve the Reality Stone consisted in the ether before Malekith uses it. While Rocket steals the stone from Jane, Thor confronts his mother, who realizes that he's from the future and motivates him to be himself. Before they leave, Thor calls in and gets his Mjolnir back. Barton and Romanoff, who went to retrieve the Soul Stone, meet Red Skull, the guardian of the Soul Stone in Vormir. Red Skull guides them to the cliff and tells that one must sacrifice the life of someone he loves and significant in order to get the stone. When the two begins a fight to be the one who volunteers to jump off, it ends with Natasha sacrificing herself. Morning, Barton wakes up in a lake with the Soul Stone in his hand. Nebula and Rhodes travel to planet Morg to retrieve the Power Stone before Peter Quill gets hold of it. As they knock Peter down and retrieve the stone, Nebula's consciousness collides with her past self, leading Thanos to suspect something's happening. As Rhodes and Nebula attempt to return to the present time, Rhodes successfully travels back, but Nebula fails to do so as she gets captured by Thanos. Thanos goes through the future Nebula's memories to understand that she's from the future and now on a mission to take back Thanos' succession from the future. Thanos imprisons future Nebula in his ship on guard by Gamora, and sends the past Nebula, who's more loyal to him, back to the present time with the team as an imposter. After everyone came back to the present time, they set out to achieve their goal with whatever it takes to make the worth of Natasha's sacrifice. Banner, Rocket, and Stark make a gauntlet to hold the Infinity Stones in, and Banner volunteers himself to wear the gauntlet and do the snap. But unknown to all of them, imposter Nebula arrives to the Avengers building. Just as Banner succeeds the snap, the facility gets attacked by Thanos' Warcraft. This attack manages to destroy the quantum tunnel they created and to put facility onto the ground, with the Avengers barely surviving and splitting from each other. The whole premise is suddenly thrown to be a gloomy post-apocalyptic atmosphere because of the attack. Thanos comes out of the ship and orders past Nebula to fetch him the stones. While he's waiting, Stark, Thor, and Captain America come in to engage in a fight with him. Thanos tells them that after this turn of events by the Earthlings, he has changed his plan to destroy the universe entirely and create a new one so that it would be grateful for what Thanos did. While the three fighting with him, Captain America able to uses the Mjolnir to attack, proving that he's worthy to lift the Mjolnir as well. While they're fighting, past Nebula, who went to fetch the stones that the Avengers collected, confronts Clint Barton, who had to get hold of the gauntlet with the stones, and he gave the gauntlet to past Nebula unknowingly. But before past Nebula takes the gauntlet to Thanos, she gets killed by the future Nebula, who has been freed by and joined with past Gamora to stop Thanos. After a lengthy fight, Thanos manages to overpower the resistance of Thor, Stark, and Rogers combination. Then Thanos' massive army lands on Earth, consisting of Chitauri and alien forces with Ebony Maw, Midnight, Blade, and Obsidian. Captain America gets up to face the army, but to his surprise, the Avengers, who have been resurrected with Banner's snap, begin to enter the area through hundreds of portals created by Doctor Strange. Starting from the Black Panther to large allies like Wakandians and sorcerers also come out and join the battle. On Captain America's command, all the Avengers assemble and engage with the alien army of Thanos. As a lengthy battle continues, the Avengers realize that they need to put the stones back where they came from to take them far from overpowered Thanos. Although the quantum tunnel they created was destroyed, Scott Lang realizes that the van he came to the facility also has a quantum tunnel built in it, so he and Hope get on with it to start the tunnel. By this time, the Avengers also get assisted by Captain Marvel, who marks her arrival with destroying Thanos' Warcraft that has been shooting at the Avengers from up above. She takes the gauntlet, which has been transported hand to hand so far, and attempts to take it to the van, but Thanos sees this and throws his weapon at the van, eliminating the option of sending the stones away from his reach. Then he engages in a fight with Captain Marvel and receives the gauntlet, but just before Thanos does the snap again, Stark manages to maneuver the stones onto his own iron hand. Then he snaps his fingers to disintegrate the enemy army, including Thanos, but the stone's unbearable power ends Stark's life as well. In the aftermath of the battle, the Avengers hold a funeral for Tony, and Mark 1 arc reactor is floated out on the lake nearby as a proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Pepper, Happy, and Stark's daughter find and watch a videotape that Stark had left behind in the house before he left to join the quest. Barton reunites with his family, who has been brought back to life. and Peter Parker returns to the school to join with Ned. Thor appoints the Valkyrie as the Queen of Asgard, and joins with the Guardians of the Galaxy to find his true purpose, free from the burden of royalty. Captain America takes the responsibility of going back in time to replace the stones and Thor's Mjolnir in their own timelines. But instead of directly coming back to the present, Rogers decides to spend his life with his love Peggy and reappears in the present as an old man. Old Rogers gives his shield to Sam Wilson, and Sam promises to do his best with it. As the movie ends, we see Steve Rogers finally sharing the promised dance with his love Peggy Carter. Movie trivia. Do you know that Robert Downey Jr. officially surpassed Hugh Jackman's record for most appearances in film as the same superhero with 10 movies? He set his record in only 11 years, whereas Jackman did it in 17 years. This movie gets the movie rating of 8.4 from IMDb, Tomatometer rating of 94 and audience score of 90 from Rotten Tomatoes. Thank you for watching, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments section, and hit the notification bell for the new movie spoiler video every week.